The final road to the Kentucky Derby starts now.
Trust the Profits is proud to be sponsored by Game of Silks. Go to silks.io to get in the game. Real ownership, real races, real rewards.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Pick 5 Player Show. I'm your host, Michael Pellerin, a.k.a. Horse Guy Mike. And today we're going to be talking about the late Pick 5 this Saturday, March 23rd at Fairgrounds, closing day at Fairgrounds with the big Louisiana Derby. It's the first of the major preps leading into the Kentucky Derby, 100-point race. We've got 5 stakes races on the cards, a lot of good horses running at Fairgrounds. So let's get started. We're going to be starting with leg number 1, race 8, first leg of the Pick 5. The Tom Benson Memorial Stakes going 1 mile and a 16th on the turf for 4-year fillies and mares, 4-year-old and up. Nice big 14-horse field here. Should be a really good betting race. This is my deepest spread. Still only going four horses deep here, but can't really talk you off of anyone. A lot of parity in this race. But my strategy here is I'm going to go with these 4 horses here, kind of towards the outside. First horse, and as of time of recording, morning lines aren't out, so I'm just going by assumptions on who's going to be the favorites here. And Spirit and Glory, I believe, should be the favorite. Coming off of that last win at Fairgrounds in the stakes race, we got a 100 Brisnet speed figure that day. Flavian Pratt reward for Robert Falcone. Came from off the pace that race. This horse is a closer, usually sits 4th or 5th, makes a big run at the end. That day was able to close into kind of a softish pace. They were on a soft ground. Was able to close into it. Should get good odds. Was 3-1 that day. Should be lower odds than that today. But you never know. It's a huge field. You could probably still get good odds with any of these horses. But Spirit and Glory, pretty consistent. 100 Brisnet last out, 92 Brisnet before that, 81, 86, 87. That last race was something special, though. First off of the layoff. Had ran last August at Del Mar and at Monmouth before that. That was this last race out was his first one back at Fairground. First one for the year at Fairgrounds. Now he's running back at Fairgrounds, second off layoff. Should be eligible to improve. That was the first time Flavian Pratt also rode the horse, so now he's getting Flavian again, second off the layoff after a big win. I like this horse's chances here. Probably should be the favorite. Definitely going to be including him. Next off, I'm going to be moving right to the outside. Number 10 horse, Della Hay for Chad Brown and Tyler Gaffalione. And this is kind of a pattern that I've been picking all year long to various degrees of success, and that's Chad Brown debuting turf horses on big spotlight type days. This horse ran last year in February, ran in November, and then kind of debuted off the layoff at the end of January at Gulfstream Park Day on the Pegasus undercard. And now he's coming back on the Louisiana Derby undercard at Fairgrounds, getting Tyler Gaffalione for the first time here. Has gone this distance twice now, won both times. And even though the speed figures are not great, both those times he's won pretty consistently. Not necessarily geared down, but has had a comfortable win the entire time. And this horse likes to sit right on the lead or right off the lead in second place. Very lightly raced, kind of an unknown quantity. This will be first race against Stakes Company, second off the layoff, first time racing at at Fairgrounds. So a little bit of a mystery here. Was heavily bet in both of his last races. Big expensive $500K purchase price. A lot of expectations for this horse. I think this is a great spot for kind of a stakes debut in a listed stakes, not going against graded company first there. But gonna need to see some improvement in the speed figures if he wants a chance. But I like his odds here, or like her odds here. Moving to the outside again, number 11, Hidden Connection. For those of you who've been around, Hidden Connection's been around for a while as a dirt horse in the dirt filly division. I'm running in the Aziri, the Swanee, the Houston Ladies Classic a couple times. And this is her first time trying turf. And to me, that's kind of interesting. She is a go to the lead type horse. And we're seeing a switch to turf for the first time. And you never know what you're going to get. She's had some really good speed figures. She's running against high graded company on the dirt. So she's dropping in company to run here. trying turf for the first time. Maybe she takes to it, maybe not, but not a horse I want to be leaving off. I want to put that question mark firmly here in my ticket just in case, maybe she takes to it. Maybe she's suddenly a turf horse. You never know. We know she's got graded stakes level talent, not necessarily to win, but she's consistently second, third, hitting the board in those graded stakes. And if she puts up a performance similar to that on the turf, she could be dangerous here to win. And then lastly, I'm going to be including the number 12 host, Auvert. I believe that's how it's said. Irad on board. This is Irad's first time riding this horse. Has run at Fairgrounds twice now this year. Won the first one, got second in the second one in the Mardi Gras last out. Those were both sprints. This is the first time this horse is stretching out this far. She's run a mile before at Churchill Downs and at Keeneland. 1-1 at Keeneland. Churchill got third, switched back to sprints, and now extending, stretching out. So maybe the trainer saw something that maybe the sprint distance isn't what she prefers, even though that's what she's been running. Switching to a more experienced route jockey in Irad. Again, when you've got these deep fields, what I want to do is either pick the one that stands clear head and shoulders above the others from a speed figures perspective, someone like Spirit and Glory, or kind of look for these question marks. So I've got 3 question marks on my board, and then I've got one kind of logical choice here. But I think Auvert will take some money due to the connections, due to, mid to high 90 speed figures, even though most of those were done in sprints. So these are the 4 that I'm going to be going with here, the 9, the 10, 11, and the 12. And then we'll go shorter in each of the additional legs. Moving on to race number 2, or leg 2, race number 9, the grade 2 New Orleans Classic Stakes, going 1 1/8 on the dirt for 4-year-olds and up. We've got just some classic Fairgrounds horses here. Red Route one's been banging around here last 2 races. Hasn't really done much since its Oklahoma Derby race last year. Don't want to be including them. I'm playing this race very simplistically. I'm going with 2 horses here. And that's the number 5 horse, Money Supply, and the number 9 horse, Best Actor. These horses finished 1-2 in kind of the prep for this race, the Mine Shaft, the grade 3 Mine Shaft that they ran on February 17th underneath the Remsen card. It seems like a 2-horse race, and there's a lot of horses in here that kind of have a chance to win. There's some mystery horses here, like the number 4 Black Belt is interesting as a front-running type. Some other kind of right on the lead horses. Velocitor, Best Actor. But I think Best Actor and Money Supply had that really good race here. They're coming back. They both raced in the local prep. They finished 1-2, and it was close. It was not, it was a head separated them. I think it's going to be just as close this time between those 2. And it's a coin flip. You never know which way it's going to go. Money Supply is their closer. Best Actor is your on the lead type. If Best Actor can control the pace a little bit better and leave more in the tank at the end, maybe he'll be able to turn the tables. If Money Supply gets a faster pace here, is able to close into it again, maybe get outside or maybe hit the rail. Again, going to close into it. But I think these 2, just from a talent perspective, stand head and shoulders above the rest. They've got the experience on this track in the prep. There's not really any mystery question marks in here that I want to include. Happy American was in that mine shaft, got a 7th place. Black Belt is interesting from a front-running perspective, who might factor into the way this race plays out by pushing Best Actor. And then Touch Upon a Star, who's racing at Delta Downs and Fairgrounds, is interesting. Had a 104 Brisnet 2 back. I think this is just the first time going up against Stakes Company in a race like this. I think the waters are just a little bit too deep. But again, could be one to press the pace on Best Actor. So you've got Black Belt, Best Actor, and Touch Upon a Star all looking to be towards the front. Could set it up perfectly for Money Supply. But of the 3 speed horses, Best Actor is the best. Of all the closers, Money Supply is the best. I'm going to just keep it simple. Choose the best closer, choose the best front runner, and go from there. Moving on to leg 3, race number 10, the grade 2 Muniz Memorial Stakes, going 1 1/8 on the turf for 4-year-olds and up. We've got a lot of good older turf horse races, turf horses here. Some ones that ran in the Pegasus World Cup turf race back in January. That was a huge race. We're getting Hamo back. We're getting Webslinger back. We're getting I'm very busy back from that race. I'm going to go inside with this. I think I'm very busy, who got second in that Pegasus World Cup, is interesting. I don't like the far outside draw for this horse. I think it's going to be difficult. He likes to sit kind of mid pack in that Pegasus World Cup. He was a little bit further back. He was 8th, 7th, 2nd to close into it. That was his best race. So maybe he'll do better closing in, but he's going to run into a lot of trouble at a field that's this deep. So, and before that, nothing really jumped out. I think that was one really good race that he got a perfect setup in, and I'm not thinking he'll replicate it very easily. He's going to get a short price here in a big field. So I'm going to look to the inside here. And the first horse I want to talk about is the number 1 horse at Hamo. Horse is 6 years old, has been running in these big turf graded stakes races for a long time now. Entirely Gaffleon, Chad Brown, has been ridden by Flavian Pratt. Flavian Pratt jumps over to the number 3 Web Slinger in this. So that's something to look at. But I think at Hamo has the body of work to kind of show up in here, likes to sit mid-pack, make a run, didn't show up in the Pegasus World Cup, but I think is eligible to improve, second off the layoff. There's nothing really to say here besides the fact that he's got consistent numbers. He's got the style. Anything can happen. He's got experience in class. I like his odds here. He's going to be higher odds than he was that day. I mean, he was 35-1 that day. You're going to get something, maybe not that severe here, but you'll get a good price on him. And then moving to Racely is outside the number 2 horse, Strong Quality, is the best of the front runners. Was a heavily bet favorite in his last 4 races at Fairgrounds, at Oaklawn, at Churchill. Now he's facing tougher company. You're going to get a better price on him. He was under even money last out, or he was around even money last out. He was under even money before that. Had Florent Giroux, switching to John Velasquez. So maybe the jockey change might help him out here. Not saying Florent Giroux is not great. He is. But maybe just a different style of racing could help him out here. Get him on the lead. He's going to be dangerous. There's not a ton of pace here. With these older turf horses, a lot of them are just willing to let someone go. And there's a very good chance that he can just get on the front and go gate to wire. So Strong Quality is going to be what I'm going to be including. And then going right again to the outside, Web Slinger as another consistent deep closer that I want to be including here. Another one coming off of that Pegasus World Cup. Edgar Zayas rode him in the Pegasus World Cup. Now he's getting Flavian Pratt. And again, interesting that Flavian Pratt's jumping from at Hamo to Web Slinger. So take that as you will. But I do consider that a jockey upgrade. Web Slinger was putting up consistent mid to high 90 Brisnets last year, hit 100 3 different times. That Pegasus World Cup turf was his first off layoff. So absolutely no knock to him there, getting 6th place in a tough field. This is going to be a little bit easier field. He's drawn the inside. We'll be able to save ground, make a big run there at the end. He's who I want to be including here. So I'm going to be including these 3. I'm going to be fading I'm Very Busy, who I think will take a lot of money. And hopefully we can catch someone who's not going to end up as the favorite. And again, morning lines aren't out. I'm just making assumptions here. I'm assuming I'm Very Busy is going to be the morning line favorite. And I'm going to try and fade it and beat the favorite in this leg. Moving on to leg 4, race number 11, the Fairground Oaks. Going a mile and 16ths for 3-year-old fillies. Kentucky Oaks Prep, field of 8. We've got a couple of really good horses in here that I think are going to make some impact on the Oaks field moving forward. The first one I'm going to be talking about is the number 5 horse. And number 5 and the number 6 kind of go hand in hand. That's Tarifa and Intricate. These 2 finished 1-2 in the Rachel Alexandria back on the 17th on the undercard of the Risen Star, or Remsen. I always get those two confused. Which one was it? Was it the Remsen or the Risen Star? It was the Risen Star. So on the undercard for the Risen Star. They finished 1-2, but Tarifa was well ahead of Intricate. 2-2, almost 3 lengths. Intricate wasn't really that big of a threat to her towards the end. Tarifa was basically geared down. It was a little bit of a sloppier track that day, so maybe on a faster track, Intricate will be able to turn the tables. But they have similar running styles. They both come from off the pace, kind of like 3rd, 4th mid-pack, make their run. I think Tarifa's very good. Flavian Pratt, Brad Cox, got an excellent jockey trainer combo there. She's going to be the favorite, I think. I'm just going to go ahead and I would single her if it wasn't for this other horse on the outside. That's number 7, Our Pretty Woman, for Steve Asmussen and Joel Rosario, who has now won back-to-back races at Fairgrounds in a maiden race, in an allowance race, both going, I believe the one was going 2 turns, wasn't off the turf race. The second one was going a mile and 16th on the dirt, both in kind of wet conditions. But 83 Brisnet on debut, 90 Brisnet on that second race. Both races won by open lengths, by 3 lengths, by 4 lengths. This will be the first race against Stakes Company. Could be kind of deep waters for her, jumping right into a grade 2, but she's done very good and she's never really been asked. The speed figures are there, the talent's there. She's by Miguelia de Oro, $900K purchase price. This horse is going to have a lot of expectations. I expect her to be second choice in the betting. So these are the 2 I'm going to be going with. Just go to the top 2. It's kind of chalky, but interesting to see. I think whoever wins this race is probably, in my eyes, will be the favorite for the Kentucky Oaks, unless something happens at Gulfstream or Oaklawn to change my mind. But I think these are both 2 really good fillies, and I'm excited to see this race. Probably almost a little bit more excited for this race than I am for Louisiana Derby. But I'll go ahead. Top 2, Tarifa, Our Pretty Woman. Looking forward to seeing if they both show up for this race. And then finally, leg 5, race number 12, the Louisiana Derby, going a mile and 16th on the dirt. I believe it's 100 points for the Kentucky Derby, road to the Kentucky Derby. We've had some really good horses in this race the past few years. I was in love with Kings Barnes last year. We had Epicenter, we had Zozos, we had Country House, we had Mandaloon, a lot of big Kentucky Derby winners and second place finishers coming out of this race. It's kind of an interesting spot where all the other preps happen closer to the Derby. So the horse that wins this race is going to have the most rest going into the Kentucky Derby, along with the Jeff Ruby Stakes winner, if they don't run in any other preps. So that little bit of extra rest could be a factor into why they've been performing so well on that big stage. It's a mile and 3/16. So that's the other thing too. They're going a mile and 3/16, which is one of the longer preps. So having that extra distance here also factors into this as well. Up here on the screen, we've got our sponsor showing our field, Silks Racing. So go ahead and check them out here. I'm going to be going 2 deep here. I would have been going 1 deep, except that my ticket was a little bit short. And my single is not who you thought. I was not going to single Track Phantom. I was playing to single the number 5 horse, and that is Catching Freedom for Flavian Pratt and Brad Cox. I've got Flavian Pratt and Brad Cox on a bunch of my races this week. I think they're up for a big day. But I like Catching Freedom more than I like Track Phantom, and especially going to be at the price. If I was to single this race, Catching Freedom would be my choice. When I'm going to do a straight-up win bet, it's going to be on Catching Freedom. And I think, when we look back at that Risen Star, everything went right for Track Phantom. He still wasn't able to win. His speed figures and everything you see there and his experience and everything is better than everyone else in this field. There's not really a horse in this field that can touch him on that perspective. But Catching Freedom finished right behind him in that Risen Star, and he did not get a setup for his style. He is a closer. He's been a closer in all of his races so far. They were going so slow. They went 49 for the half in that race. Track Phantom should have walked through the wire and won easily. He still got caught by Sierra Leone. I think Catching Freedom with a little bit faster pace is going to have a little bit more, especially with the added ground, will be able to close into this a little bit better. I love Catching Freedom in this spot. Switching to Flavian Pratt, had Luis Saez last up. I think Brad Cox, has been talking to Flavian and says, hey, we want to be a little bit closer to the pace so we can close into it, because, again, it doesn't look like there's a lot of pace in this race. Looking at the Brisnet styles, you've got 2 E styles and 2 EP styles in a field of 12. So only 4 of the 12 horses that really have front-running styles to them. So Track Phantom may or may not have a lot of pressure there. Antiquarian is one of the E's. Hall of Fame, who we were talking about in that Risen Star, thought we would see push the pace. He had a disappointing fade back into, I believe it was, he finished 6th or 7th in that race. He finished 7th. beaten by 8 lengths. And he wasn't really near the pace in that race anyway. So maybe Hall of Fame gets a little bit more aggressive and pushes the pace, but I don't think the extra distance is going to favor Hall of Fame. So I think he'll be more cautious. But there are 4 horses that might push the pace. I think Catching Freedom's going to try to be a little bit more forwardly placed so he doesn't come into a situation like last time where he has to close into an absolutely snail's pace here. But I am going to be including Track Phantom just because, like I said, only a quarter of this field is front-running style. Everyone else likes to come from mid-pack or from deep behind. He could absolutely get another situation where they go 24-48, 24-49, and he just walks the dog all the way to the wire. And I'm not going to miss out on him there. I have the budget to include him, but I don't want to. I want to love Catching Freedom, and I want to include Catching Freedom in all my tickets. I believe he's going to get a better style this way, and I think he got some good seasoning in that last race. You got a jockey change, you've got extra distance, and you've got hopefully a faster pace in a bigger field. Catching Freedom is going to be my top choice here, and I'm including Track Phantom just in case. So looking at my ticket, we're going 9, 10, 11, 12 in the first leg, going 5, 9 in the second leg, 1, 2, 3 in the third leg, 5, 7 in the fourth leg, 5, 12 in the last leg. Total ticket cost is $48 on a 50-cent base there. Good luck to everyone. Always love Louisiana Derby Day. Always fall in love with the winner of the Louisiana Derby. And if it's Catching Freedom, I have a feeling I'm going to be riding this horse all the way to the Kentucky Derby and beyond. Good luck to everyone. Make sure to follow along on Twitter. I'm at Horse Guy Mike. Follow along at Trust the Profits. Comment below on who you think is going to be your top choice for Louisiana Derby, as well as your top choice on the entire Pick 5 card. Who's your most logical single? And let me know what your thoughts are below. All right, take care.